And welcome back to the RattleMind Podcast. I'm Roy, and joining me is my co-host,
Angie.
Awesome. All right. You know what's been going on lately? I got into listening to a lot of music again, and
Okay.
my creative side is a boiling.
Ooh.
In fact, one of the songs that I just recently listened to is Hyren. Gonna copy that.
You're gonna have to keep talking because I have no idea.
I'm gonna link you the video just so that if you want to watch it at some point, you can.
Okay.
Basically, it is a extremely personal yet an emotional song, but it's played off as a back and forth, so he creatively switches between each voice of the characters of Ren, even though he is Ren, so it's a weird mumbly jumble, but it's about partially about his struggles with his medical past, because apparently he was diagnosed with autoimmune disease and then also psychological issues, and that song brings it up. And just listening to it got me thinking, I really should do something with all the weird things that go on in my head. I always talk about, doing my animation again. I really should start getting back into that.
Yeah.
But just looking at the icon for the music video, the first thing I thought what would be cool for a little animated short would be a little old lady scooting with her little walker over to a chair with a guitar leaning next to it. And then she scoots over and sits down. She picks up the guitar. You think she's all frail. And then all of a sudden she just starts strumming out an amazing guitar riff. I think that would be a great animation.
Yeah.
That
would be so cool.
It's always nice to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she may be slightly feeble by walking and stuff, but she still got it up there and in the fingers. That kind of sounded a little wrong, but okay.
I know what you meant. It's okay.
But that's one of the things that got into my head. Another was, I'm not sure I should say this, but I watched the Tim Pool Timcast IRL podcast, and one of his reoccurring castmates is Ian Crossland. He gets a little out there with his things he says. And
okay. Outlandish.
Yeah, and most of the time it's like, okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but then he'll say something idiotic like, black magic and light magic, or why are they all skin color based? No, they're not skin color based. They are literally about, there's the sun. I see the light. Oh no, there's the shadow. What is lurking in that shadow? That is what the dichotomy of white and black magic or light and dark magic. It's not about skin colors or anything like that. It's about, black is the fear of the unknown, the horror and the scary sounds that happen when you can't see anything.
Mm-hmm. And it's like an inherent, human thing.
Exactly.
The darkness versus the light, like the evil versus the good. It's, it's just inherent. It's not always accurate, but
yeah,
it's not, there's no ulterior agenda or motive.
Right. It's just that
it's like the I might get castrated for saying this, but but it's like when hardcore feminists are like the words history and they come up with all these words that have male like pronouns and stuff in them, and they're like, we're being conditioned to be men's slaves and blah blah blah. And it's like, do you research anything
Yeah, it's
other
like
than like feminist websites? Like a lot of like, I forget the word for people who study the history of words and the creation of words.
etymologists.
That's it. Etymologists can easily explain where these words come from, and more often than not, it's just it's propaganda.
Oh yeah. Most of it's just, hey, this sort of sounds like this word that I don't like, so we'll just say it is
Mm-hmm.
this word that I don't like, only disguised as another word. It's like, you're stretching there. Most of these things have
Yeah.
roots in Greek, Latin, and Aramaic. That's most of what the English
Sure.
language comprises of. I'm not sure
Right.
about Aramaic. I just pulled a language out of my head. Uh, but it's like these roots of the language are so far back that your connection means nothing,
Right.
which I do find fault with the people who say maths instead of math. Mathematics is not a plural. Etymologically, the S at the end of mathematics means something completely different than a plural. So when someone says maths, they're technically saying it wrong. So math technically should be the correct way of saying it.
I've only ever said maths. First of all, it's rare, but I've only ever said it to be like cutesy. Like I've never,
Right.
I've never used that in any serious sense of the word. Like I didn't know people did use
The
it
British do.
because it's like,
Yep.
interesting.
People in the
It's
UK
like
and Britain
it's
do.
not plural because nobody says mathematic. You know,
Yeah.
like nobody says that. Like nobody says the singular quote unquote form. It's not mathematic. There isn't just one mathematic somewhere. You know.
Yeah, and like I said, the S part is actually means something completely different, and it does not mean a plural at all in mathematics.
It's just a word that happens to end in S, like
Exactly.
octopus. Technically, the plural would be mathematicae. Yep.
There we go. I like that.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
But yeah, language is weird. Um, since we're talking about the roots of things, uh, Netflix released a TV show or movie on Cleopatra, and her skin tone was black. Honestly, I don't really care about that. Though, honestly, all previous portrayals of Cleopatra, as in being white or at least light skinned, were accurate. Because Cleopatra's ancestors came from Greece, not Egypt. Ptolemy the
Huh.
First, who was the first Ptolemy, so he was the first in charge of Egypt from Greece, and his consecutive children and their children and their children's children's and children's children's were all inbred, as in brother, sister, cousin, niece, nephew,
I heard that
grandpa.
just for the sake of finding out if I'm right before you tell the story, I heard that Cleopatra was actually not very physically appealing to royalty and higher ups and stuff like that. Like I heard that she was not as beautiful as she was rumored to be, and like I if I'm not mistaken, there was some struggle getting her married off because of that. I could be wrong though. I could be totally wrong.
Well, the problem is that, well, yes, she probably was not very attractive with how inbred she was. Um, let's see. It does not go all the way back to Ptolemy the First, but the weirdest thing is that everyone in her family tree was either named Ptolemy if you were a boy, or Cleopatra if you were a girl.
I
So,
mean, same bloodline, same names. I guess it
yep.
makes.
The weird thing is that Ptolemy the fifth and Ptolemy the sixth weren't father son, but were brothers, I believe. I mean, it is a weird, weird world that they go through. And
Huh.
now, they never actually, like, the whole bloodline of Ptolemy to Cleopatra, the one we know, did not leave the family at all. Cleopatra was the historical Cleopatra that we know was the closest to actually having uh, an outsider marry in. All the rest
Huh.
were blood relatives of either brother, sister, daughter. Yes, that did happen. Um, or uh, cousins. I mean, it was they were that inbred. I'm kind of
Right.
looking at the family tree here. I can't make heads or tails of it.
I'm good.
Yeah,
It's one of the. What's the joke? It's not a family tree. It's a family stick or something. Like
yeah.
it's a family pole. Like it's
It's
very
the family
linear.
bush, quite literally. uh, yeah. So, like I said, I don't mind that the dark skinned person played Cleopatra. I mean, it really doesn't ruffle my skin at all. It's just, honestly, she should have been light skinned by genetics because that bloodline did not get any melanin in it.
Yeah, I mean, are they? I guess if they're not trying to be historically accurate and they
Yeah,
just want to make something for entertainment, fine.
yeah, that's
But if
perfectly
they
fine.
are trying to reflect who she was and what she went through, this is bullshit. That's how
Exactly. I mean, like I said, it's like Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio, I can't say his name. DiCaprio.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
that version was so weird. It was really good, but weird because it was in modern times, but they kept the vernacular of actual Romeo and Juliet. So they
Oh,
talked in verse, but they were wearing, everyday t shirt, jeans, and carrying guns instead of swords.
right.
If I remember right, it's been a long time since I've seen that one.
That
Uh,
is an odd take.
I'm not saying I actually kind of liked it, but I watched it in school, which was also weird because why did I watch that in school? Albeit it is better than the 60s version where you actually saw man bits in that. So I can take
They
gun violence
were a
over
lot
man
more.
bits.
They took a lot more, let's call it, artistic liberties,
Yeah,
especially with Shakespearean stuff,
yeah. So, like I
which
said,
makes sense,
yeah, I'm all for it. You can change what you want for, entertainment's sake. As long as you're not trying to be historical accurate or things like
Right,
that. It's
right.
perfectly fine. I mean, like I said, with the Little Mermaid, I could care less that she's black. I mean, yes, it's a little odd because a deep sea creature should be a lighter skin, a light transparent, to be honest. But
That irked me a little. I'm not gonna lie. I
yeah,
know that it's not a big, huge deal, but like if we're talking about like culture, you
right,
know, The Little Mermaid was a huge part of my culture.
yeah.
You know,
This is how it
are
always
white
has
people
been.
not allowed to have cultures? Like, so it's like, and the fact of the matter is that if the roles were reversed, and I know we've all seen this argument on the internet, if a black character from a different movie was reportrayed as white, the world would be burning to the ground as soon as the trailer came out. So, like, it would be utter chaos, you know? So it does irk me in that sense. I mean, I do hope that, you know, the Black community and Black children get, like, a lot of, you know, the same satisfaction I got when I watched the cartoon as a kid. I do.
Right.
You know, the same magical feeling. I mean, I know the colors. I think we talked about this before, but like the ambiance of like the stuff underwater was very like kind of grimy and like if you're gonna play with skin color and experiment with that, at least like keep the vibrance of the environment, you know?
Exactly. I mean,
don't make it too realistic. That was like the whole thing with Lion King. Everyone hated the real Lion King because it was insanely too realistic. You can see any expressions on their faces. It was awkward. It was ridiculous.
Oh, now sticking with the Little Mermaid, Flounder and Sebastian were scary looking.
I haven't seen the movie, the whole movie.
Neither have I. I saw a clip of, you know, Flounder jumping out of the water, and
okay,
they took the cartoonish shape and tried to make it realistic looking. It was creepy. It did not work. So they still had, you know, the big poofy smile and everything that Flounder does, and the big, you know, the poofy cheeks with the smile.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, it looked like a yellow blobfish. Yeah, so you can't just do things because you want to.
Right.
Which,
what do I always say? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. Their most recent movie that they did was Wendy and Peter. I think that's what they were doing.
I just saw a very brief preview of that.
Now,
just saw it today.
From the reviews I've seen, most people are like, it's kind of meh. Did we really need another Peter Pan story after the 24 that have been released in the last 10 years?
Right. Not to mention the show.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time. Well,
right.
I guess that's not so recent anymore, sadly.
But. And the kid they had to play Peter, his acting was okay-ish, according to the reviews. I mean, mostly it was just a meh time. And it's like, stop with the live action, Disney. You do
Are
terrible.
they even British?
No, they're Indian. They decided to have Peter Pan be Indian.
Oh.
Yeah, as in Sunny Indian. You know.
Yeah, nope, I got it.
So that was kind of jarring and weird. It's like the story. And
just because they're Indian doesn't mean I don't have the same problem with this as I do with the Little Mermaid.
It's a similar accent, I'll give you that, but India and England are two vastly different places. I
mean, not just that, but like the whole cultural thing, like Peter Pan originally. Well, I'm gonna take that back because I've never read the book, so I don't know for sure, if I'm being completely honest, if Peter Pan was white or light-skinned or British in the original books. I would think so.
Peter Pan was technically an elf.
But he was a human, right?
Nope.
Like, isn't that the whole thing?
Nope.
Oh.
He had pointy ears and everything. So he was not a human. He was not a lost boy.
Well, then Hook lied to me.
Exactly. Technically, Peter
Still
Pan
one of the
went
best
around
movies ever,
kidnapping
though. Don't
kids.
Get me wrong.
Yeah. So technically, the version of Peter Pan from Once Upon a Time is closer accurate to the books than Disney movie Peter Pan.
The original stories of all of these, Disney movies and stuff like that, like the original like Grimm tales and stuff like are always much more horrific than
Right.
we know.
Though Peter Pan was literally an author from England who wrote it. So there's that.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I thought it.
Yeah.
Peter
Most of what
Pan's, like,
Disney does.
nationality.
Yeah. Most of what Disney does is from the Grimm tales adapted in a way that's more lighthearted and kid friendly. Even though, Sleeping Beauty was kind of scary. That dragon popping up and breathing fire and the prince. Okay, I got to get off of that or I'm going to have childhood traumas resurfacing. Just kidding.
It's been a decent length podcast this time, after all.
So yeah, it's nice that I have my creative juices flowing again.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot that's where all this.
Yeah, that's where it started. I got my creative back, and then we went to Egypt, which is interesting enough.
Right.
But we'll end the podcast here. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. You may have noticed that today we didn't talk about video games. Basically,
oh,
because,
did you have to bring it up?
Yeah, I got to bring it up. People are going to comment. I don't know. They probably wouldn't comment our 11 subscribers.
Right.
But
what
still,
are you worried about?
I have to, just in case someone scrolls through and listens to all of our podcasts and they're expecting a video game one for a Wednesday.
Fine.
But we have redone our formatting. We'll just do 3 regular podcasts and we'll leave video games related content to our Let's Play channel.
Yep.
So, like I said, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Anything you'd like to say before we go?
What's your favorite Disney movie? Right. What's your favorite remake?
Oh, that's
Let me know if you liked them. Let me know if you like the Lion King one, because I haven't met anyone that does yet.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.